Nityananda Priya Prabhu.
Dear Devamrita Swami, please accept my humble obeisances. Being in your presence is like standing under the bright sun during the cold and cloudy winter. Your well-researched, innovative, succinct, penetrating presentations, precisely tailored for each kind of audience, be they Western or Eastern, on the ladder or off the ladder, men, women are very penetrating, transforming, and effective. We have witnessed for many years your fearless ways of highlighting and demolishing the varieties of misconceptions, obstacles for diverse groups around the world. In the courtroom of atheists, skepticals, and the confused, yourself are the lawyer, always fighting and winning the cases on behalf of Krishna. You so expertly plant the seed of Krishna consciousness, or in other words, restoring the appreciation for the pizza. Yourself is like a valiant leader leading from the front, preaching, serving, studying, and sheltering. It is our greatest fortune and matter of pride to be your servants. Humbly seeking to be your servant.
We'll start the disciple offerings now. Dear Guru Maharaj, over the last few weeks I've tried to put pen to paper and I've realized my inadequacy to glorify you. Standing here today and hearing all these wonderful devotees glorify you gladdens my heart and makes me realize that there are so many other devotees who care about you just as much as I do. I remember our first meeting, the first time I ever went to the temple, ISKCON Auckland, and you had just finished the arati, which we had missed, and I was chanting japa outside, up and down, and I remember I just felt this presence, I felt this, something I'd never felt before, and I stood there with my japa bag in my hand, and then I looked to the side, and there was my Guru Maharaj standing there without his kurta on, with my godbrother standing there beside him, and Guru Maharaj smiled at me, and I just went, wow, who is that? And my heart instantly changed. I felt it just cushion, soften, absorb. And I thought, that was amazing. And it took a long time later that I actually was able to sit in a class with you, Guru Maharaj, and hear you speak. And like Chiranjeev Prabhu said, your words penetrate deep. More and more I found myself becoming attracted. More and more I felt myself becoming absorbed. And it wasn't because of anything that I was doing. It was because what you had said and what you had placed in my heart. So I thank you, Guru Maharaj. I thank you that throughout the years we've seen different wars, different tragedies. We've seen many people come and go, but you are our shining light in Kali Yuga. You are our rock in devotional service. We thank you. Devamrita Swami ki jai.
Hare Krishna. I'll keep it short. So I remember it's almost been 12 or 15 years since I met you. And I remember the first time I was told about you, and I was really fascinated, and I couldn't wait. I called all my friends, and we all decided we were going to go hear the Swami talk at the University of Cape Town. And we had a big plan to like really give you a hard time and ask bogus questions and do all sorts of things. And 5 minutes into your speech, we were just kind of over it. The message, what you were talking from Bhagavad Gita, I remember you were talking about the 3 modes of material nature, and we were just blown away. So much so that immediately after you finished, I just ran up to you, and I told you I needed to talk to you. So years later, I'm here today, and I want to thank you for really going out of your way, being patient and tolerant when some of us were very new to Krishna consciousness. Didn't know much etiquette or do's and don'ts, but you tolerated our meager and humble attempts to do something for Srila Prabhupada. So I want to thank you for that. And the other thing is, I want to thank you for the opportunities that you've given me in Krishna consciousness. I've met so many wonderful people. I've done so much service to Srila Prabhupada. And before coming to Krishna consciousness, I used to think of opportunity in a different way. Where I was educated or where I come from, opportunity was based on the tone of our skin. So we're very much into black consciousness and, you know, up with the power and whatnot, whatever that meant. So we used to live our life based on the color of our skin, and we limited ourselves based to what we were told our existence was worth. So when I started reading Srila Prabhupada's books, I was so happy that I was able to have the strength and the philosophy that could support a new lifestyle for me, a new way of thinking, and a new way of living. And the ones, the identity I had before as being a black girl from Botswana and etc., political student, that was all washed away in a matter of seconds. So thank you very much for giving me opportunities in Krishna consciousness to take it up in a very peaceful way, to grow and mature as much as I can, and to share Krishna with others. Hare Krishna.
In Śrīmad Bhāgavatam 5:18-12, we hear the 26 qualities of a devotee. I guess the 26 of them is what you reflect in your daily activities. There was recently, a couple of days ago, before you were traveling to Adelaide, you were having breakfast, and Nandai was around the breakfast table, and he was curiously asking, "Where is Gurudev going? Where is Gurudev going?" And my reply to Nandai was, "He's going to Adelaide." But whereas, after a few minutes of silence, you said to him in a very grave voice, looking at his eyes, "I'm going to serve Krishna." That words, when I heard, was just made me feel that how we perceive things in a material nature, in a material way, but whereas you perceive serving Krishna with a lot of joy and enjoyment. Love for Krishna that you're showing is not ordinary. This is more than 40 years of practicing devotional service. It represents your devotion and dedication to Srila Prabhupada.
in my small observation that I have learned from you is predominantly you being practical, you prioritize, and then you don't compromise on the principles. These are the three things that is what you always try and apply. Your practical application is actually seen in the style of your preaching and the adaptation that you do. The retreats is an example of that practical application of how the changing of human needs, the changing of desires, dealing with different minds, presenting Krishna consciousness philosophy to them to attract them to Krishna is your practical application. Even in your dealings with people inside, within ISKCON, outside of ISKCON, you show a genuine care to them. Generally in this material world, dealing with that, people, you don't really see that material genuinity or care for others. But whereas you reflect that, as you just mentioned in your lecture, that when you come and go for the retreat, you think that you don't have to worry about because there are devotees here. But that's actually a genuine care that is what I perceive that you're showing. In 2 days, you were there at the farm, listening to 20 people or hearing them out. And even when you came back from overseas in your recent trip, you were so tired. But then the last 3 days, as soon as you came, you spent time listening to devotees. That quality of yours of spending time patiently listening to devotees, understanding their problems, guiding them, and of course, adapting the change of managing people is very unique. Being an expert, you can read people, even if they don't say much, and according to individual people, you adapt yourself and give them the guidance. Almost in the last 10 years, you have constantly kept telling me to look after my health, to do exercise. And I remember one time I was traveling with you to Russia, and you did mention to me that I was a couch potato. It took a while to understand and reflect why health was important in service of Krishna. I used to see you taking that priority to look after your health, so that you could continue serving Krishna in long term. And another thing that I have learned, as you mentioned today, is how you prioritize your chanting. I have practically seen you before your travels. You make arrangements during travel and before your travel starts so that your chanting does not get compromised. But whereas someone like me would basically just think about getting from point A to point B, not really prioritizing the chanting aspect and making Krishna the center. Gurudev, you mentioned that Vyasa Puja is an occasion where disciples are getting a ticket. Hopefully, I have the ticket in my hand, and hopefully I can make use of it and continue to serve you. Thank you.
Dear Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances at your lotus feet, O Gurus to Srila Prabhupada. Recently, while I was visiting a hospital, one poster grabbed my attention. It said, "Aggression and violence against healthcare workers, it's never okay." It had a picture of a patient being verbally and physically abusive to a hospital staff. Initially, I was a little shocked how a patient could possibly be violent towards someone who is there to help them. Then I realized that our complaining and blaming mentality targets everyone without discrimination, even to those that we should be most grateful, both materially and spiritually. As I was thinking about this, I noticed one patient with mental illness swearing at a carer close to him. I thought, why would anyone want to do such a job even if they get paid really nicely? But why and how do you do it, Gurudev, as a spiritual doctor giving spiritual medicine and care? This was answered by a verse in Śrīmad Bhāgavatam 3.5.3. O my Lord, great philanthropic souls travel on the earth on behalf of the Supreme Personality of Godhead to show compassion for the fallen souls who are averse to the sense of self-ordination to the Lord. Purport: to be obedient to the wishes of the Supreme Lord is the natural position of every living entity. But due only to past misdeeds, a living being becomes averse to the sense of subordination to the Lord and suffers all the miseries of material existence. Great unalloyed devotees of the Lord are compassionate towards the fallen, and therefore they travel all over the world with the mission of bringing souls back to Godhead. Such pure devotees of the Lord carry the messages of Godhead in order to deliver the fallen souls, and therefore the common man who is bewildered by the influence of the external energy of the Lord should avail himself of their association. Gurudev, your compassionate heart to reach out to the fallen souls and look after those who come under your shelter is certainly not ordinary. As you have mentioned in classes, a spiritual master doesn't receive just flowers and glorification, but also sometimes criticisms and blame. How much dedication you must have to the parampara to do such a selfless service year after year. As I was exiting the hospital, I reflected on my rebellious nature to still trying to enjoy separate from the devotional service to the Lord, forgetting about my own material disease. Yet, despite of this, how blessed I am to have your guidance and care. On this day, Gurudev, I sincerely pray for the heart and strength to be obedient to the desires of the Lord, to your mission to assist Srila Prabhupada. Always grateful to have your shelter and association, Devamrita Swami.
Dear Gurudev, please accept my humble obeisances unto your lotus feet. O Lord Srila Prabhupada. When I think about you, Gurudev, it always amazes me how wonderfully multiple roles are you playing in the service of Srila Prabhupada as a sacrifice. You are a GBC, you have your managerial responsibilities, and for your service, you are being appreciated by your peers. And at the same time, in the preaching front, you have strategized and created systems to reach out to new people, to train them, and to care for them, and to maintain devotees. Interestingly, when you preach, you really connect to the intelligence of the audience. Whatever misconceptions they have, you just remove them. And at the same time, you actually churn the emotions of the audience. You're really good with to take things out from the heart of the people and then present the Krishna conscious perspective. And that we see over and over among the Western audience as well as the Indian audience. Then interestingly, very amazing thing about your authorship is I really, really love your books, and I still remember first time going through your first, not the first book, but the Searching for Vedic India. One of the first service that I did for you was made a PowerPoint presentation on one of the chapters of Searching for Vedic India. It was the Vedic selfhood. When I was reading through and I was making the PowerPoint presentation, I was just completely amazed how wonderful this book is. And I have personally seen when I distribute this book, some of the people, after reading a few pages, they have come back to me and given me extra donation. For this book, deserve more. This is such a wonderful book. And recently, you wrote The Hiding in Unnatural Happiness. There are two interesting things happens with the hiding in unnatural happiness. One is when I distribute this book, many times I tell the young people who get this book, I tell them, if you want to know, just read from any page of this book. It will make sense, I guarantee them. And indeed, they just read through somewhere and they say, it makes sense. And one incident I had to tell regarding this latest book, Hiding in the Natural Happiness, that it is really a precursor to Bhagavad Gita. So two things is there. One is in the street when we distribute a lot of this Hiding in the Natural Happiness, then people really come for Bhagavad Gita. People ask, where is Bhagavad Gita? One incident took place in Mantra Lounge. I was sitting and we witnessed a conversation taking place between two guests. They said, one told, I got a copy of Hiding in the Natural Happiness. So the girl told her, yeah, I also got a copy of Hiding in Natural Happiness. So both of them read, and both of them agreed, the next book that we want to read is Bhagavad Gita. So we can see how effective your books are to connect to Srila Prabhupada and his teachings. So it really impressed me, and I'm really a fan of your books. And on top of that, as a spiritual master, you are really a loving father. I remember one of my godbrothers, he met you, he had a personal darshan with you, and he told that I usually take guidance from my other devotees, maybe senior devotees, but I take all the guidance locally. Then you told, it is very good, but I am your guru, so I also want to give you personal guidance. So this is the way Gurudev interact with all the devotees, all the disciples. He wants to be really, really personal with all of us. So that is, we are really indebted for that. And this was among a schedule which was very intense. You were traveling across multiple time zones. You had intense schedule. You had immense responsibilities, and you had a rigorous sadhana program of hearing and chanting. Despite you want to give your personal time to all of us. So I am completely indebted to you, because all these years you encouraged me, you guided me, heard all my problems that I faced with, corrected me, and made sure that I am in the right path in bhakti. So your instructions are very powerful, and I have full understanding and faith that your instructions carry the same weight as the instruction coming from the Supreme Lord Krishna. So in this most auspicious day, I humbly pray for your causeless mercy so that I can be useful instrument in your service, and I can dedicate my life somehow or other to please your lotus feet. Your humble servant, Govardhan.
Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Śrīmate Devamrita Swami Tinamine Prachari Purvada Sanchava Tachara Pranata Parapata Pikaranyaya Sasarvishate. Maharaj, thank you for being here. I have nice memories of you. When I met you the first time in Ecuador, when you were visiting Peru, Chile, Argentina, I remember once when you were giving class and you were addressing a particular person. After this interaction, because of your strong preaching, she decided to move into the ashram after 2 days. Now she is initiated. I also remember the ecstatic kirtan you would lead in Chile. The married ladies would leave their children with their husbands so that they could fully participate in the kirtan. Everyone would be sweating the floor that was made of wood would bounce deep to the devotees jumping and dancing enthusiastically. In this kirtan, it felt as though time stood still. The last kirtan was always the most fired up. All the devotees would come to join. We all just wanted it to continue. Nobody wanted the kirtan to stop. Thank you so much for these moments and wonderful experiences. Thank you for your patience, tolerance, determination, and great example. Please forgive me any offense. You servant Namachintamani Devikas.
We have Bhakta Prabhu. We request him to please speak some words.
This is not a Krishna West revolution. I've just come back from an opportunity to do some chaplaincy work at Swinburne University. I know how much that means to you, the university students. I'd just like to offer my humble respects to you and wish you all good fortune for the future. Maharaj, you, personally, I see you as an instructing guru for me. You enlighten so many people. I've heard so many of your classes. You astound me that every time you give a class, it's something different and really exciting and new. I believe you're a fabulous author, and I believe that your book, Searching for Vedic India, should be standard reading for every devotee, just to understand where we stand as far as the Hindu situation. Maharaj, I hope you encourage me in my preaching for the future. I see what you're trying to do with the Western diaspora, and I see great success that you have done. I appreciate your friendship that we have. Don't always agree with each other, but most of the time we do. And I just wish you all the best for the future and happy birthday. Thank you, Maharaj.
Dear Gurudev, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. The purposes stated within ISKCON's Articles of Incorporation reveal Srila Prabhupada's vision. You have embraced his vision wholeheartedly and enthusiastically. Therefore, you have a very clear and exciting idea of where you're going and what you're trying to accomplish. This clear-sightedness allows you to tap into the emotions of devotees to get them to rise to the challenge of spreading Lord Chaitanya's movement far and wide. You have a very big position in this institution. As the GBC, you're a guru to hundreds, BBD trustee, worship formally as we're doing today, etc., etc. But despite all the externals, you act as a servant leader because you see yourself as a servant first. You make sure that devotees and the people in general's highest priority needs of Krishna consciousness are being served. The test of a good leader is, are those being served growing as persons? I have observed under your guidance, people in general and devotees becoming more Krishna conscious, healthier, wiser, freer, autonomous, and most importantly, becoming servants themselves, trying to benefit the less privileged. Your focus has always been on the growth and well-being of devotees and the communities to which they belong. You are willing to share power, helping devotees develop and perform as highly as possible. The community of devotees and projects you have established is testament to this. For example, Melbourne and so many other communities. You have the courage to take risks in the achievements of your transcendental goals without any assurance of outward success. When Srila Prabhupada was asked why he chose to go to New York instead of London, Srila Prabhupada jokingly said, "My godbrothers went to London and failed, so I thought I would go to New York and fail." Though Prabhupada said this jokingly, he was aware he might fail but the bigger failure would have been not to try to fulfill the order of a spiritual master. Similarly, you're not afraid to experiment and fail in your attempts to present Krishna consciousness in different environments, because not trying would be an even bigger failure. As time has shown, you have been very successful in your bhakti endeavors. We hear and read that pride is very dangerous and detrimental to our spiritual advancement. But one thing I can take pride is in having you as my spiritual master. I hope and pray that I can be a worthy disciple. Guru Maharaj ki jai.
Dear Gurudev, please accept my humble obeisances, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. You are so consistent, Gurudev. Year after year, you continue to visit Melbourne and allow us a chance to try and step outside our selfish existence and try to assist you in reaching out to others through the retreats and the preaching programs. In your presence, we get some strength and intelligence to try and serve. You are consistently teaching by your example that chanting Hare Krishna is where it's at, even with your many responsibilities. In afternoons, after taking lunch in Melbourne, you often chant rounds very intensively. You are focused on service, an embodiment of Srila Prabhupada's purport, opening lines of Nectar Instruction, text 3. Devotional service is not a matter of sentimental speculation or imaginative ecstasy. Its substance is practical activity. You give hope that in spite of all obstacles, internally and externally, by using our minds and senses in devotional service, everything will be taken care of. And you give us hope as you look at us in terms of service, always expressing appreciation for whatever little service we may have done, even years before, and seeing our potential for serving Krishna in the future. You're always ready to personally help and guide us in our personal situations, assessing situations with such clarity and sensitivity. The advice you give is always aiming at giving us the very, very best, though we may not even understand it ourselves or be hesitant to take it up. The tragedy and embarrassment is in our failure to properly reciprocate all the kindness and care that you show us and not taking your instructions. Please give us the strength to be serious and sincere. Your aspiring servants, Vaishnav Charandas and Yasomati Dasi.
Dear Gurudev, please accept our humble obeisances to your lotus feet. On this auspicious appearance day of we pray to Lordship Sri Sri Radha Vallabha Gaurnita and Jagannath Baladev Subhadra for your good health. We feel ourselves most fortunate to attend and participate in this occasion. And before I forget, I would like to say that I'm reading this offering on both behalf of myself and my wife. So this year we started a home program for preaching, and that made us realize some of the hardships of preaching. And to imagine that you have been doing this for more than 3 decades, that too, not staying at one place, traveling all around the world, is something amazing and extraordinary. Just few days, we are most fortunate to receive Brahmin initiation from you, enabling us a chance to further deepen our commitment and perform more services in the temple. As you advised us in the last darshan, one should not take Brahmin initiation just for the sake of name or prestige, but should rather develop the qualities of Brahmana. We pray and hope that we live up to your expectation. Personally, I get my greatest inspiration by listening to your lectures and instructions to read Srila Prabhupada books. In fact, recently one of the lectures, I've been hearing it for more than, I think, 15 times so far, same lecture. But each time I hear it, I would get some new point to talk about in my Bhaktivedanta program each week. And I'm yet to finish all the points that you mentioned in that lecture. It really amazes me to see how much information you put into the lectures which are practical, relevant to the present time, and succinctly putting forward the teachings of Bhagavad Gita, Śrīmad Bhāgavatam, and by Srila Prabhupada. And it leaves me wondering how many lifetimes do I need to listen, understand, and assimilate all your lectures. I feel like a tiny bird trying to gulp up the ocean. I also take this opportunity to glorify your simplicity and humility. In one of the lectures you mentioned that compared to so many big guns who came before you, you never thought you would be holding positions and preaching, traveling all around the world. And then you aptly remembered and quoted the words of Srila Prabhupada, who said, "Watch out for the big guns." My wife also likes to read Srila Prabhupada's books, Cooking and Preaching Krishna Consciousness for New People. She is highly inspired by your words of appreciation and encouraging her to read and practice Krishna consciousness. Thank you very much, Gurudev, for your mercy, guidance, and blessings by which we are able to continue our devotional life. We hope to render some service to you that help you to propagate the message of Lord Chaitanya and Srila Prabhupada across the world. Your humble servants, Yamuna Jivandas, Janavi Jivandasi, Gopal, and Hare Deva.
Dear Guru Maharaj, every year when it's your Vyasa Puja, the first thing that comes to my mind is the love in New Zealand. Why? Because this special place was the root of my spiritual life, dedication to devotional service, and it was the place where I met you first. First experience and impression in my life touched deep my heart and stayed in my mind. The love is the house of opportunities you have opened for everyone, but especially for ladies to live and grow spiritually and have a transformation in life. I couldn't believe in this special place called the Love. It was possible to study about the soul, about spiritual development, and get food and place to live and stay for free. It was such an opportunity I couldn't resist to accept and join it. I always thought I should pay for all I'm getting here. After a week visiting the Love, I met you, Gurudev, who from day one gave me instruction and gave me opportunities. Thank you for changing my life and being an inspiration. Thank you for giving me devotional service. It was not easy to find this jewel, and I'm always trying to hold it tight and not let it go. All glories to you and your service to Prabhupada and Lord Krishna, your eternal servant, Samohini Devidas.
Dearest Gurudev, on this auspicious occasion of your Vyasa Puja, I would firstly like to thank you for being present amongst your well-wishers, disciples, and the Melbourne congregation. It is truly a very special moment for all of us here to have your presence and grace. It is truly really special. It hasn't sunk into me that you're here, Gurudev. Gurudev, I would just like to speak about your contribution to the youth and youngsters, which Nityanand Priya Prabhu and Gopavendesh Prabhu have articulated how you go about it. But your contribution to youth and youngsters from across all continents and all walks of life is truly superb and commendable. We live in an era where the youth are misguided and confused, and you stand as a beacon of hope and appreciation. I've seen you when you get in front of them, you remove so many of their misconceptions, and you clear their headspace. Gurudev, you have provided not just shelters for these youth, but to experience bhakti, but sanctuaries for these youth to understand and practice spiritual life. These sanctuaries don't exist anywhere else on the planet, but for what you have set up. Through your preaching efforts, you have deeply touched and transformed the life of many such youth across the globe. To take such an active interest in molding the next generation, nurturing their spirituality, is truly praiseworthy, Gurudev. These are the hallmarks of a magnanimous leader and benefactor. In reality, I cannot do justice to the praise you deserve. Gurudev, on a personal note, I would like to thank you for all the affection, guidance over all these years. I am someone who has immensely benefited from your love and care and feel indebted to you. Lastly, I pray to their lordships to always keep me under your shelter and as your menial servant. Your servants, Jai Sachinandana and Baby Arjun. Hare Krishna.
Dear Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. All glories to you on this most auspicious day of your Vyasa Puja celebration. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, Madhya Lila 19, 151, in the instructions given by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Srila Rupa Goswami, the Lord says, Brahmanda Brahmite Kona Bhagyavan Jiva, Guru Krishna Prasadipaya Bhaktilata Beach. The living entity wanders throughout different planets in different forms and bodies. But if by chance he comes in contact with a bona fide spiritual master, by the grace of the spiritual master he receives Lord Krishna's shelter and his devotional life begins. Dear Guru Maharaj, I am extremely grateful that today I can see you and offer my deepest thanks and gratitude to you for so kindly giving me your shelter in this life and for teaching me how to serve and love Krishna and the holy names of the Lord, the greatest gift and treasure. I had the great fortune to engage in your most relishable and uplifting service in Sri Mayapur Dham at the beginning of this year. I wholeheartedly pray I can take all the mercy that flows from your care and guidance and be able to always serve you eternally, no matter where I am and in what situation that unfolds before me. Thank you for your constant care and guidance throughout my devotional life and especially this year. I can never forget and will always try to repay such mercy, eternally indebted as I am. You are the greatest father, guide, and my ever well-wisher. Despite my immense lacking in many areas, you have never left me aside, and I am so grateful for this. I pray that you may please forgive my offences and bless me to become very serious in my Krishna consciousness. Sincerely praying to do much better, your servant Shri Shraddha Devamrita.
Dear Gurudev, all glories to Srila Prabhupada, and I wish you a very happy Parents' Day. Please be merciful to us. Please bless me and my family. Your servant Krishna Das.
Dear Srila Gurudev, please accept my prostrated obeisances at your lotus feet. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to you on this most auspicious occasion of your appearance. Lately I've been considering the guidance you give through your perfect example and divine instruction, and have come to understand that actually you are the greatest well-wisher of all the fallen living entities who are suffering in this material world. Following in the footsteps of Srila Prabhupada and the previous acharyas, you are delivering the message of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and reclaiming all those lost souls for Krishna. What else could be more merciful than this? Here I would like to quote Srila Prabhupada's words from Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. Persons who are not in Krishna consciousness are living a very precarious life as described in this verse. But all these circumstantial conditions are due to forgetfulness of Krishna. The Krishna consciousness movement is meant to give relief to all these bewildered and distressed persons. Therefore, it is the greatest relief work for all human society, and the workers thereof are the greatest well-wishers, for they follow in the footsteps of Lord Chaitanya, who is the greatest friend to all living entities. Śrīmad Bhāgavatam 4:7-28 Prabhupada. Not only does this make you the greatest well-wisher, but it makes you very dear to the Lord, as described by Krishna himself in Bhagavad Gita. Nachatas man manusheshu kaschin me priyakrita maha bhavita na chame tasmad anya priyataro bhuvi. There is no servant in this world more dear to me than he, nor will there ever be one more dear. Bhagavad Gita 16:18. O Gurudev, please bless me so that I may follow in your footsteps and become Yogi Bharatu Padakamaleo Dasa Dasa Anudas, the eternal servant of the servant of the servant of the Lord, the master of the gopis, Krishna, your insignificant servant, Devamrita Das.
Dear Gurudev, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to you. Your lectures and books cut through my illusion about this material world. They inspire me to give myself to Srila Prabhupada's mission and create a desire in my heart to go back home, back to Godhead. People that I know who are not Krishna conscious, I pray that somehow they hear your lectures or read your books and get started in their spiritual lives. I give them your recent book, Hiding in Unnatural Happiness. How nicely you expose the myths surrounding material happiness and inspire readers to rise to a higher platform, where Srila Prabhupada's books are waiting to reveal all the mysteries of the spiritual world. Recently, I had a dream that my husband and I were sitting together and a video of your lecture was playing on the laptop. He was watching intently and getting convinced by your words. I felt so happy. It was a dream, but I know in my heart that just by staying connected with you via your instructions, people I care about will get your mercy, just as I am. With my tiny intelligence and stone-like heart, I may never fully comprehend your compassion towards this fallen soul. I've already wasted so many years of my life in sense enjoyment. I want to become serious about my Krishna consciousness. I want to do meaningful service that will make you happy. On this auspicious day of your Vyasa Puja, I pray to Krishna that I always remain under the shelter of your lotus feet and continue progressing in my Krishna consciousness. Your servant.
Dear Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, all glories to your lotus feet, all glories to you on this auspicious day. Once again, by your mercy, Maharaj, we are able to perform your Vyasa Puja in your presence. By that same incessant mercy, you blessed us recently by accepting us as a Brahmana disciples, though we are not endowed with any of the required Brahmana qualities. In contrast to our ineligibility and fallen nature, however, your saintly qualities shine like the sun, dispels the dense darkness covering conditioned souls like us, caught in the clutches of the illusory energy, and it is these qualities I would like to take this opportunity to glorify by recounting some of my personal interactions with your dynamic self. Maharaj, what I have realized in my experience with you is that even though you appear externally to be as a grave and imposing as a lion, your heart is just like a butter, willing to melt for any devotee intent on rendering devotional service, no matter how insignificant. This is compounded by your lively wit, sense of humor, and tolerance. This was evidenced during one of the opportunities we were given to serve your lunch prasadam during a farm retreat. That day, we were ambitiously planning to prepare a number of preparations for you, and as a result of this, we served your prasadam 1 hour late. Despite this offense on our part, you compassionately accepted our apologies and simply remarked to my wife, I think the kitchen was not favorable for you. In this way, he tolerated our mishaps and allowed us to rectify our faults, which in turn allowed us to progress in Krishna consciousness. In other incident, I had the great fortune of meeting you in the Kuala Lumpur International Airport terminal as I was traveling to India. I immediately offered by Dandavat Pranam at your lotus feet while you were constantly asking me to get up as everyone was watching. I did not do so, however, until I had finished offering pranamas. Upon raising your question where I had sufficient prasadam, whether I had sufficient prasadam, and also give me some of your own prasadam. In this way, you clearly showed the love and compassion you have for your disciples and the care and the care you take to ensure they progress on the path of bhakti. This concern is not only limited to your disciples, however, for your ardently follow in the footsteps of Srila Prabhupada and Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and aim to deliver all suffering living entities from the shackles of material existence through your dynamic preaching and insightful realization. Hence, on this auspicious day of your appearance, we pray to Krishna to grant you a long life so that you can continue to preach and deliver the countless conditioned souls like us. We also pray for your inexhaustible mercy so we can continue to serve your lotus feet and the lotus feet of the Vaishnavas, for it is only through your and their blessing that we can even dream of approaching Krishna. Your servants, Bimala Prasad Das, Lalita Devi Dasi, Bhakta Sharan, Bhakti Krishna Priya.
Dear Guru Maharaj, please accept my humble obeisances on this most auspicious occasion of your Vyasa Puja. So many devotees have talked about so many of your wonderful qualities. The most endearing quality to me, which I would like to highlight, is your leadership. So you can connect and lead any person, whether it's Western, Indian, male, female, young, old. It's such a challenge to be able to make people understand what you want them to do and follow, make them follow you. So this is an amazing quality that really inspires me to follow you. At one point I asked you once, why do you take so much pain to lead people and guide them? Is it just out of duty? And then you said, it's more than duty, it's love. Just like a small child starts to walk with the help of the father, but eventually that child grows up and walks on by themselves. So in the beginning we do this service as a duty, but eventually we grow up and do it out of love for all human beings and all living beings. Thank you very much for guiding me and having me as your disciple. One day I'd like to be a sincere disciple and follow in your footsteps. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Hope you have a lovely Krishna consciousness birthday today. And do you know that all of your devotees love your amazing lectures? Even every kid loves your amazing lectures. Please bless my whole family.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Please accept my humble obeisances at your lotus feet. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. In Chaitanya Charitamrita Adi Leela it is mentioned, Jive Sakshat Nahi Tate Guru Chacha Rupe, Shiksha Guru Haya Krishna Mahanta Swarupe. It means, since one cannot visually experience the presence of the Super Soul, he appears before us as a liberated devotee. Such a spiritual master is none other than Krishna himself. Because as you know that I broke my knee ligament in November last year, and I was not able to do much services in the temple. And that time I was contemplating on what can I do and how can I engage myself in Krishna service. But before my mind started playing, I realized that our boat cruise program was happening in January. So I just realized now I can sit on a bench and just distribute flyers to all the guests. So that time I was I was just thinking that how merciful you are, that you are engaging us in Krishna's service no matter whatever situation we are in. After the surgery, during my recovery time, I was getting so much inspired by hearing your lectures. I really like the seminar that you gave on seeing Vrindavan through the eyes of Uddhava. Since the beginning of my Krishna consciousness, I always liked the philosophy in Krishna consciousness, and I always put more emphasis on philosophy. But after hearing that seminar, I realized that philosophy is there, but that is to help us to have more faith in Krishna and have love for Krishna. So I was really inspired by that lecture. In one of your visits this year to Melbourne, I got an opportunity to come to airport to pick you up. I was sitting at the back seat in a car and reading in my iPad. You asked me what am I reading, and I replied, a bit nervous, that I'm reading Śrīmad Bhāgavatam. And then to my surprise, you asked me to read it for you. At first I was very nervous, but then I started reading, and then I kept reading. And then while reading, I was reciting that may this trip never ends. It reminded me of Srila Prabhupada asking his disciples to read for him. And later I shared this experience with one of my god brother, and then he made me realize that how Guru knows everything about his disciples. That god brother knew that I like reading for devotees because it helped me to understand what I'm reading more. And then in another experience, I realized where I understand that Guru knows everything about his disciples' heart and his desires. When for your Vyasa Puja, when I came to know that your Vyasa Puja is getting celebrated on 26th of September in New Zealand, and you'll be leaving on the same day. I was very sad after hearing this, and then I happened to ask Gopal Deshpur that why can't we request Gurudev to have Vyasa Puja on 25th? And then 4 days later, I came to know that you have very mercifully agreed to have that live Vyasa Puja celebration in Melbourne on the request of Aniruddha Prabhu. Really grateful to His Grace Aniruddha Prabhu to organize this event, and very, very thankful to you to give us the opportunity so that we can serve you and have the live Vyasa Puja in your presence. On this auspicious day, I pray to Krishna to give you good health and long life, so that you can continue to deliver the conditioned souls like myself. I also beg you for your kind blessings unto me, so that I can engage myself in your service and serve you enthusiastically, aspiring to be a humble servant, Veer Chandra Das.
We have Gyana Samudra Prabhu who would like to make an offering.
Happy birthday, Maharaj. So, I've had I haven't had that much association with Maharaj over the years, because our services have been a little different, But I have, so I can't really express so much gratitude to Maharaj for his service. Although it's been constant and that's been, but what I can see in Maharaj is just like when you see the fruit of a tree, then you can glorify the tree. So Maharaj, I've seen your devotees, and they're very wonderful people. Each one of these devotees is a diamond in themselves, and it's only because of your guidance that they're shining every day even more and more and more. I can see that they're very dedicated to Krishna's service, and Prabhupada here in Melbourne. Each one has a chapter on themselves, and this is I can see your glories because this is the fruit of the tree, And regardless what anybody says about you or anything else, when I see your devotees, I'm just in thanks that you're guiding them and helping them out. Also, I thank the devotees for your disciples for helping you in your service to Srila Prabhupada. because without their help, of course, Srila Prabhupada's mission here in Melbourne, Australia, can't continue or is not blossoming as much as it is now. So definitely their hard work and their commitment to you is very, very, very outstanding. So Maharaj, I know that this time of the year, and birthdays, it's actually not meant for giving, or for receiving. It's meant for giving. So I'm asking you a boon that if you can please give me your devotee service, and let me always remain in their service, regardless. Thank you.
Devamrita didn't tell me the full story. I didn't know that there was another Vyasa Puja ceremony going on somewhere else. They just said, "Is it okay if we have a Vyasa Puja?" I said, "Yeah, sure, no worries." Yeah. So, just in case you're wondering, they pull the wool over my eyes too. They didn't tell me the full story. Of course, I don't mind. But just in case you think, I'm privy to this, I'm an innocent bystander too.
Dearest Gurudev, please accept our humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada and all glories to your lotus feet. We'd like to thank you for increasing our faith in Krishna consciousness and giving us faith in Prabhupada's books, which was missing. As a family, we regularly on a daily basis read Prabhupada books, specifically the Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad Gita. And now we are able to see glimpses of how it connects to our lives. In fact, even our parents also read Prabhupada's Bhagavatam regularly, and they are finding great satisfaction in their lives. And on this occasion, we would like to also thank you for a very nice association in the form of your disciples, who are actually our examples and role models for us. Without them, it would be not only difficult, but also impossible for us to be serious in Krishna consciousness and feel inspired. So we really thank you for giving us such helpful and nice God brothers and sisters. And on this day also, we would like to thank you for inspiring us to preach. And we beg your mercy so that we can get the taste of the holy name and realize Krishna's sweet name and become more effective in giving the taste of holy name to others. We beg you to please give your mercy to us to taste the holy name, aspiring to be your humble servants, Dinodhari Das and Satyadhari Devidasi.
नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपिस्ताय पुत्री श्रीमती देवामृत स्वामी के नामने प्रचारे पूर्वदक्षिणा भक्ताचार्य प्रवृत्ति परातपतिकारुण्यम निश्च सर्वे च ते नमः. Dear Gurudeva, I wish to narrate how my wife transferred from Chirisha to Mayapur Vasi Devi Dasi. I could recall when I met you for seeking shelter, my main concern was about my wife, who was against giving up onion and garlic. She used to say, how can we give up onion and garlic? Without which, how can we prepare food? We are already vegetarians. I had to explain her about the impact of onion and garlic, but she said we need some more time. But after taking shelter, I came home and said to my wife that I took shelter now, and I had to give up onion and garlic immediately. Hence you can prepare separately for me. But to my surprise, she said, why separately? I will stop eating onion and garlic from today onwards. Then I realized that it was just due to your mercy. My next concern was when she would reach 16 rounds. But due to your mercy, she reached 16 rounds in a period of 1 month, and eventually she got initiated by you on the 20th September 2017. This is by far the greatest and happiest day in my life, as I had fulfilled one of my biggest responsibilities. I got one more important duty, that is the two of my sons' initiation. Hence on this auspicious day of your Vyasa Puja, I pray to you that both of my sons get initiated in the years to come. Thank you, your servant.
Hare Krishna, dear Gurudev. Please accept my most humble and most respectful obeisances under your lotus feet. Wishing you a very happy and good health conscious appearance day. Gurudev, your bold preaching and artistic ways of presenting the science of Krishna is extremely unique and satisfying. Maintaining the information intact while delivering the complex concepts is a challenging task. However, you very expertly exhibit complete control over such situations. Your strong faith in Krishna consciousness and clear understanding of scriptures is really admirable. Your lectures are inspiration, and your uncompromising approach in presenting Krishna consciousness is worth meditating and learning. Your motivation for studying and preaching has given a new shape to my life. Your inquiries about my preaching efforts is very encouraging. Gurudev, thank you for directing me to the correct path and engaging me in Krishna's service. I am pushing myself, and by your blessings only could meet fractions of your expectations. Please forgive me for my offenses. I surrender and seek your blessings for pleasing you and the parampara in full in future. Please bless me with the proper mood and intelligence. Thank you, your disciple Govind Darshan Das.
Dear Srila Gurudev, please accept my humble obeisances. I always wonder, how you get encouraged in preaching, and I always thinking of serving, how I can actually serve you. So, and actually, 1 year back, I moved away from temple, staying in a new place. So I thought, how would I serve? How would I come to temple every day because of the distance? Then I was listening one lecture of yours. So I just heard, even though you're far away from the temple, you can start preaching yourself and also start little, gather your neighbors and, help yourself preaching. So then I discussed this thought with Bhuvan Pavana Devidasi, and then she accepted as well. And straight away, to my luck, you actually came to Melbourne, so I didn't want to miss this opportunity and took your blessings to facilitate a Bhakti Ruksha in my home and to see how I can actually serve you. And then to my surprise, you accepted, and immediately his guest Anudra Prabhu also accepted to facilitate. And the point here is how much effort does it require? I always wonder how much effort does it require to preach, actually, to assist in preaching. And I can see that now. Every time I get some hurdle in assisting in preaching, I always listen to your lectures, and then I get immediate answers straight away. Every time I used to live before marriage, I used to live with one of the senior devotees called Muldhara Prabhu. He always says, every time you do a task, every time you get something, it is the mercy of your Guru. It is not just by chance. So always be humble and obedient to your Guru. I didn't understand this point when that Prabhu was saying all these things, but I can slowly realize all those things, what Mullidhar Prabhu said. It is only by your mercy I could actually assist. Otherwise, I don't feel qualified enough to assist in preaching. Please, Gurudev, I beg you to help me to progress in my Krishna consciousness. Thank you, your obedient servant.
Om Ajnana Timirandasya Dhananjana Shalakaya Chakshu Unmilitam Jena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Jena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamahyam Kadati Sva Kadamtikam Vandeham Sri Guru Sri Juta Padakamalam Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padam Sahagana Lalita Sri Vishaka Amritam Cha Namah Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Śrīmate Devamrita Swami Iti Namine Namah Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Sarasvati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Namah Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Śrīmate Bhaktisiddhanta Sarasvati Namine Sri Vasavanavi Devi Daitaya Krip Abdhaye Krishna Sambandha Vijnana Gayane Prabhave Namaha Madhuryojvala Premadya Srirupanuga Bhaktida Sri Gora Karuna Shakti Vigrahaya Namostute Namaste Gauravani Sri Murtaye Dinatarine Rupanuga Virudha Apasiddhanta Vanta Harine Namo Gorakishoraya Sakshat Vairagya Murtaye Vipralamba Vasambode Padambujaya Te Namaha Namo Bhaktivinodaya Satchit Anandanamine Gaura Shakti Swarupaya Rupanuga Varaya Pradayate Goravir Bhava Bhumestvam Nirdeshta Sajana Priyaha Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Sri Jagannataya Te Namaha Panchakapatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Mahavaranyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namne Gaura Tviche Namaha Panchatattvatmakam Krishnam Bhaktarupa Svarupakam Bhaktavataram Bhaktakyam Namami Bhakta Shaktikam Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Jayatam Surato Pango Mama Mandamater Gati Matsarvasva Padambojo Radha Madana Mohano Divyat Vrindaranya Kalpa Drumadha Śrīmad Ratnagara Simhasanasto Śrīmad Radha Srila Govinda Devo Krishtalibe Sevyamano Smarami Śrīmad Rasa Rasarambhe Vamsi Vatastitaha Karsham Venusvanayar Gopinata Sriye Astu Naha Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Namah Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Śrīmate Devamrita Swami Iti Namine Esha Pushpanjali Gurudev Devamrita Swami Maharaj Ki Jai. Namah Om Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Prasthaya, Bhutale, Śrīmate, Devamrita Swami, Iti Namine, Desha Pushpanjali, Gurudeva Srila Devamrita Swami Maharaj Ki Jai. Namah Om Vishnu Padaya, Krishna Prasthaya, Bhutale, Śrīmate, Devamrita Swami, Iti Namine, Desha Pushpanjali, Devamrita Swami Maharaj Ki Jai. Griva, where are you? Jaya Guru Deva, 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 Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gurudev, Gurudev, Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Samsara Dhamma Lida Loka, Samsara Dhamma Lida Loka, Janaya Karunya. Samsara Dava Janaya Karunya Ganaganatva Samsara Dava Janaya Karunya Ganaganatva Karuna Guravasi Vande Guru Sri Charana Govinda Satasya Kalyana Vande Guru Mahaprabhu ki Ananichadi Varimajan Mansurutena Mahaprabhu ki Ananichadi Varimajan Mansurutena Mahaprabhu ki Ananichadi Varimajan Mansurutena Mahaprabhu ki Varikramajan Mansurutena Romanchakamba Sutambadu Vande Guru Sri Charana Ravinda Romanchakamba Sutambadu Vande Guru Sri Charana Ravinda Shivigrahara Namanichananda Sringaratam Mandira Majanaru Shivigrahara Sringaratam Mandira Majanaru Shivigrahara Sringaratam Mandira Majanaru Shivigrahara Sringaratam Mandira Majanaru You cut your
Bhagavatam Jati Yope Vande Guru Sri Charanara Vindam Satya Bhagavatam Jati Yope Vande Guru Sri Charanara Vindam Jatu Sri Bhagavata Sarum Savana Driptam Hari Bhakta Sangha Siddhane Sri Bhagavata Sarum Jatu Sri Bhagavata Sarum Savana Driptam Hari Bhakta Sangha Bhagavata Sarum Savana Driptam Gita Sitting Bhagavata Deva Vande Guru Sri Charanara Vindam Gita Sitting Bhagavata Deva Vande Guru Sri Charanara Vindam Shri Anikama Raviyoda Pada Madhuya Lila Guna Rupa Namna Hirari Gama Shirari Kama Raviyoda Pada Madhuya Lila Guna Rupa Shirari Kama Raviyoda Pada Madhuya Lila Guna Rupa Namna Vakshanadha Nada Dolopasya Vande Guru Sri Charanara Vindam Vakshanadha Nada Dolopasya Vande Guru Sri Charanara Vindam Nikunja Yungu Rati Jali Sita Yaya Lede Yopira Pishniya Nikunja Yungu Hakikeli Sita Yaya Levi Opera Vishniya Nikunja Yungu Hakikeli Yaya Levi Tatati Daksha Rati Balabhasya Vande Guru Sri Charanara Vindam Tatati Daksha Rati Balabhasya Vande Guru Sri Charanara Vindam Sakshadari Tvenas Machasyastre Ukasyatata Vyasa Eva Sabe Satyadari Tvenas Machasyastre Ukasyatata Vyasa Eva Sabe Satyadari Tvenas Kintu Prabhupada Priya Eva Tasya Vande Guru Sri Charanara Vindam Kintu Prabhupada Priya Eva Tasya Vande Guru Sri Charanara Vindam Yasya Prasadam Bhagavat Prasado Yasya Prasada Nagagi Gustope Yasya Prasada Bhagavat Prasado Yasya Prasada Prasado Yasya Prasada Nagagita Dope Yasya Prasada Nagagita Dope Vayantu Bhaskaya Satyakama Vande Guru Sri Charanara Vindam Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Śrīmati Devamrita Swami Namine Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Śrīmati Devamrita Swami Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Prashadine Vishesha Shunyavadi Bhaktadari Siddharine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Prashadine Vishesha Shunyavadi Bhaktadari Siddharine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Shri Gaura Bhaktivedanta Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Gaura Bhaktivedanta Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gaura Bhaktivedanta Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, oh Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Oh, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare.